Will they send me flowers and a thank you note? Why do I not suspect that's coming?
Well, they probably will be sending me something. I think they're very thankful. But, you know, these things usually have like 1 million people, 2 million people, and they'll probably have 23, 24, 25 million people based on their early numbers. So we'll see. But maybe I'll get some flowers from CNN. Who knows?
Were you happy with the format? It almost was, to me, a little WWE. You said this about this person, they said this about you, and we want you to fight, and then it went on for 3 hours. Happy with it? Unhappy? You think it was productive?
Well, the thing that made me most upset, and everybody else too, was the 3 hours. Because to be standing up for 3 hours, answering questions in the form of a debate, and I think the viewers probably, you know, frankly, I think they would have done as well as they've done. You know, I think they set a record in the history of CNN. As well as they've done, they would have done better if it was an hour shorter. It was too much. It was too long. And I would imagine at a certain point people get bored with that. But I like the way that, you know, certain things happened. I would say this. It was a little bit like WWE, the great Vince McMahon, who was a terrific guy. The way, and every question had to do with me. It was Mr. Trump said this, Mr. Trump. I think they said 46% of the questions had something like that. So I thought it was a little bit unusual.
You know, there's a disparity. 3 Snap polls, Drudge poll, a couple of other polls last night, had you at 60% the winner. If you listen to the political class, the punditry class, the so-called experts, they didn't give you the win. How do you explain that disparity?
Well, they've actually had, 3 polls, Time Magazine and Newsmax and Drudge, which are terrific polls. Those are big, you know, it's over 1 million people. And they voted for me between 60 and almost 70%. And that's out of 15 people. That's a lot of people. But they voted for me that I won, and won easily. I think second place was like 10. I was at 60-something, and second place was at 10. But if you watch the pundits, I mean, they all said I did fine, but they didn't say I won. So the people that vote, and maybe that's the important ones, but the people that vote said I won. And, you know, don't forget, again, very much like Fox, I hate to bring this up, but I was asked probably the toughest questions because everything was about, like, Trump said this, Trump said that. And even when the question wasn't asked to me, they were saying, Trump said this, how would you respond? So I think probably by far I was asked the toughest questions. But the voters all said that I won by a lot. So we'll see. I guess in the end, it doesn't matter.
You know, a lot of pressure was brought to bear on you that you signed the loyalty pledge that if you didn't win the nomination yourself, that you would support the nominee. It's interesting as I watch that all unfold. Then you have some people on the stage last night questioning your temperament with the nuclear button. Did that bother you? And what's your answer to them?
No, they want to get publicity off me. I mean, they're dying. They have 1% in the polls. Some of them are sitting senators, and they have 1%. They're very embarrassed. They're embarrassed in terms of their own constituency back in their state. And frankly, I understand exactly what they're doing. So they said, a couple of them, actually, Mike Huckabee, who's a terrific guy, said to me, I'm going to attack you because the only way I'm going to get some publicity out of this is to attack you. And he was kidding. He was just having fun. But he was having a hard time getting some airtime. He said, the only way I'm going to get airtime is to attack you. And we laughed. But there's a little truth to it, I guess. Although everybody that's attacked me, if you look at Perry, and if you look at it, everybody, I mean, everybody so far that's attacked me has gone down. We'll see what happens. Hopefully that continues.
And obviously, I think you were prepared for it. You had made those remarks the day before that you had anticipated that. Let me show 2 moments with Jeb Bush. One I thought was a funny moment with your Secret Service names, followed up by facing off in a battle of words, and get your reaction to this. Both were pretty funny moments, but there's a serious side to this issue, and I've asked you this question before, and that is, you fully acknowledge the system is corrupt. You also say that you took advantage of it. You donate, they would take your calls. What's the reason, and that you want to change the system? You know, what would have happened if you didn't donate? Would projects have been lost? Would workers be fired? What would have happened?
Well, you wouldn't have done a lot of deals, I mean, frankly, and that's maybe human nature to a certain extent, Sean. You know, you donate, and 2 years later, 3 years later, you need approvals, or you need to go get something, or you need something for outside or from outside the country, you need something from State Department or whatever. And if you donated, they think well of you. And if you don't, and I'm not just saying one thing for another, I'm just saying years later, If you donate, they think well for you. I would say, just to answer your question, yeah, probably many things would not have happened, which is a shame. We need transparency in our system. We have no transparency, or we don't have proper transparency. So we need transparency. I know how to fix the system. Nobody else does, because I've been a part of the system, for better or worse, but I've been a part of the system as a businessman. One of the magazines just called me a world-class businessman, which in all fairness I am. I've been part of the system. So whether it's that, or whether it's taxes, or whether it's anything else, I've been such a big part of it. I'm the one that knows how to fix it, and fix it properly, so that we can really go to greatness from where we are right now as a country.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back more with Donald Trump right after this. Also tonight, we'll check in with other Do you think there's a bit of a double standard in terms of people make fun of you all the time, make fun of your hair all the time? They did it on Jimmy Fallon with Hillary Clinton last night. Is there a double standard? Do you think maybe we're too sensitive about comments, and is that changing in politics?
Well, it's not only a double standard, it's being politically correct. And if you say something nice about somebody, like last night I was very nice to her, and, you know, some people thought I was being sarcastic and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But actually, if you look back at the records on Carly, she was brutal on Barbara Boxer. She was very nasty. She was running against Barbara Boxer. She lost in a landslide. But during the run, she was really horrible about Barbara Boxer's looks, and she attacked her on her looks. And also, she attacked Meg Whitman on her look. And there's a big article about it. So I just read that. Somebody just sent it to me. So Carly is, you know, playing the double standard. She's playing the game herself. But she attacked Meg Whitman, and she attacked Barbara Boxer, who she ran against for the U.S. Senate in California, and probably a race she should have won, and she lost.
When Frank Luntz did his focus group last night, one of the lines, and there were a couple of them that resonated very well with voters, had to do with you saying, hey, we're ignoring North Korea and this maniac that already has a nuclear weapon. And then, of course, the issue of the Iranian deal. I'm having a hard time understanding why everybody on that stage wouldn't rip up this Iranian deal, because I defy anybody to tell me one thing that we won in that deal. What would you do with both those countries?
Well, let me just say, first of all, the Iranian deal is a disaster. It's one of the most incompetently drawn contracts. Forget about between nations. It's just one of the worst drawn contracts I've ever seen. Even the fact that we don't even get our prisoners back. I mean, they have these 4 prisoners. We don't get them back, and they're great people, and there's no reason they should be there. But so many things, including 24 days. We don't have to discuss it because you discuss it every night. It's an incompetently drawn contract. But I said last night, you know, we're talking about Iran. In the meantime, you have North Korea, where they actually have the nukes already made, and you have this maniac over there threatening them every 2 weeks that we're going to use them in the United States and every place else. And nobody even talks about it. Nobody mentions him. Yeah, have other places too, by the way, but let's not even mention that. But you have North Korea, where every 2 weeks he's proclaiming that he's going to start sending nukes, and nobody ever even mentions it. And he actually has the nukes. Iran doesn't. So it's, you know, it's a terrible situation. Look, we're run by incompetent people, Sean. We need people of great competence.
That's true. 2 other things that you touched on last night. I've always argued that English is the language of success in America. That's one. And the fact that you'd raise taxes on the hedge fund guys, and then they're not going to like you. Are you saying that they have loopholes that they're not paying as much as the rest of us?
Well, first of all, the English, I mean, this is a country where you're supposed to speak English, and the only way you're going to really assimilate, and you said it very well, and become successful and very successful in this country is to speak English. So I came out very strongly that, you know, you should be speaking English in this country as opposed to speaking Spanish, because all of a sudden we'll end up in a country with 2 languages, and I don't want to see that, and I'm sure you don't. As far as the hedge fund guys, I know them very well. They're giving a lot of money to Jeb Bush. They're giving a lot of money to Hillary. They're going to be very well taken care of if that works, if they get in, if for some reason one of them get in. But a lot of money. I mean, these are people that I know. Some are friends of mine. But they're giving a lot of money to the different candidates. I'm self-funding totally. I'm putting up my own money. I don't want any money. I'm turning down, I feel foolish, I'm turning down tens of millions of dollars of money that would come into my campaign. And I don't want it. I'm self-funding. And I don't know if I'm given credit for that. I think I am. Some people say it's the best thing they've ever heard of. But I'm spending my own money so that I'm working for the people. I'll do what's right for the United States. I won't be doing what's right for a lobbyist that's representing a big car company or country or something.
If you're elected president, would you take a salary?
No, I won't. I won't do that. Actually, you and I discussed that once before. I will take no salary whatsoever.
All right, Mr. Trump, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.